Episode 4 of the Mount Rushmore series is here. Carl Coulage for the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. We move on in the NFL Mount Rushmore. We have tight end position. Let me introduce my panel. You know I like to shake things up. TK the Tank, Tom Kenny. We have him talking pro wrestling, baseball, and football. TK, how you doing, bro?
Great, Carl. Happy to be on this panel. Happy to talk about the best tight ends in NFL history.
We have the baseball guy, Greg Polias. Greg, I think we got to get you a new nickname because I introduced you as the baseball guy, but you're always talking something else. Like, we need a new nickname, man.
I know, right? Even my mother called me. She was like, "You don't just do baseball? You make a new name."
Yeah, we did a new nickname for you, all right? We got Matt. We have Matt from the Original Geek Podcast. Matt, thanks for joining us here, man.
Oh, my pleasure. Glad to be back again.
And we have my brother from SJB 24/7, Mr. Eric. Eric, how you doing, bro?
I'm living my life, brother. Thanks for having me again.
I know, man. Special shout out to the teachers out there for us doing the distance learning thing. You know, now we have the summers off, so we can relax. Special shout out to Greg, too.
We have a summer off, but we got a plan for the September shit that's about to happen, bro.
I know. It's crazy.
Keep PJ, I'm sorry.
It's all good, man. It's all good. I'm letting the cursing slide a little bit. I think we're moving into the TV 14 era of the Sports Hit List. I don't know, man, because a lot of things have slid.
I like it. I'm here for it.
Well, you're only allowed a certain amount of F-bombs. I think you're allowed one F-bomb to be PG-13.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So you guys know how this is played. We're already on episode 4. The series has been great so far. You guys get 4 picks for your tight end position, and then it gets interesting where each person gets 1 pick for their final ultimate Mount Rushmore list. Let me start off with Matt. Matt is new to the game. So Matt, who are your top 4 tight ends all time in NFL history?
Well, I appreciate that, Carl, and I am a little hurt that I haven't been invited on the pro wrestling part, but that's another conversation.
I'll get you.
As we all are.
I promise. I'll get you guys on. I promise you. I got you. I got a lot of things in the works.
Word. So my 4, starting off with more modern, Rob Gronkowski. I don't think, his stats, his impact, Gronk's on my Mount Rushmore for sure. Antonio Gates is also on my list. You look at his stats, his accomplishments, how important he was to that offense throughout, I think, different eras of the Chargers, without Daniel Tomlinson and with just a long-standing longevity, great pick. Going old school a little bit with Kellen Winslow Sr. He redefined the tight end position. And number 4, personal favorite, little bit of nepotism, but my GOAT of tight ends, Shannon Sharp.
Ooh. You definitely got to make sure you throw in the Kellen Winslow Sr. part.
Yes, not you. Kellen Winslow Sr.
I'm a soldier.
Okay, all right. So we got Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Gates, Kevin Winslow Sr., and Shannon Sharp himself. Let's go to Eric. Eric, who's on your Mount Rushmore list?
Well, first off, I'm going to say shout out to Kellen Winslow Sr., not Junior. We all know the U. I'm a soldier, but, his dad was a legit tight end. Changed the position, he was a more athletic tight end. He was able to catch the ball, but he's an honorable mention. I'm going to add him with Mike Ditka along with my honorable mentions, because Mike Ditka was the first tight end to ever be voted into the Hall of Fame. So those are my honorable mentions. Now, number 4 on my list, I'm going to have Shannon Sharp. Almost 10,000 yards for his career. He was the first to be able to block and catch, okay? He was an inline tight end that was able to, expose outside linebackers. He was able to expose strong safeties. He was the first tight end that we could say was able to line up in line, come down like he was going to block, and he goes out for a pass. And next thing you know, it turns out to a 30-yard pass, 40-yard pass. Great tight end. Number 3, I'm going to go with Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates he's the number 1 all-time for total touchdowns, okay? 116 touchdowns. 7th all-time overall, first as a tight end. Okay, let me clear up my stats. First as a tight end with total touchdowns, 7th overall with 116 touchdowns. He had 50 yards a game, okay, 12,000 yards almost. He ranks number 3. Number 2, we go Rob Gronkowski, okay? And now when I go over his stats, remember, Rob Gronkowski hasn't played. He doesn't have the longevity nor the Cal Ripken-esque ability to play through injury, okay? So Rob Gronkowski had 7,861 total yards, which equates to 70 yards a game, which also equates to 79 total touchdowns. So his average as a tight end is 15 yards a catch. As a tight end, okay, to be able to average 15 yards a catch, it's up there, all right? And then my number 1 tight end actually said about Rob Gronkowski was that he's like Shaq. Every play Shaq had in the NBA, he was getting fouled. Okay, Rob Gronkowski going down the field, people grabbing his arms, people pulling at him. Okay, going down the field, he was always being interfered with. Okay, it's not a flag, whatever. He initiated contact. And number 1 is in Anthony Gonzalez. Okay, Tony Gonzalez, 15,000 total receiving yards, 56 yards a game catching, 111 touchdowns. He's number 2 total for tight ends, and he's also overall in the NFL. 3rd all-time in receptions, 6th in total yards, and 8th in total TDs. I mean, when you add that stat line against receivers, all right, and we're talking about tight ends, Anthony Gonzalez is number 1.
All right, so Shannon Sharpe, Antonio Gates, Rob Gronkowski, and Tony Gonzalez. TK the Tank, who's on your list?
All right, Carl. So my list starts off with at number 4, someone who has not been mentioned yet, Ozzie Newsome, who played for the Cleveland Browns from 1978 to 1990. And if it wasn't for 2 just horrible losses to the Broncos, he would have been in the Super Bowl twice, but never got to the Super Bowl. Still, his football IQ really sets him apart from the other tight ends. He did have 662 catches, almost 8,000 yards, 47 touchdowns. But then he went on and became a successful front office man with 2 Super Bowl rings with the Ravens, 1 as their GM. But still, you look at him, he was first-team All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler. He won the Ed Block Courage Award for playing injured, and he also was the NFL Man of the Year in 1990 for his community service. So all that put together, I'm putting Ozzie Newsome on this list just to give Cleveland a little bit of recognition here and to give him some recognition for the things he's done. At number 3, Shannon Sharpe. He played with Denver from 1990 to 1999, and then Baltimore, and then finished with Denver. 4-time first-team All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Super Bowl champion, 10,000 yards, 800-plus catches, Pro Football Hall of Fame, 62 touchdowns, all the accolades. And he was really a security blanket and a go-to for guys like Trent Dilfer to win in the 2000 Super Bowl, even though he only had 1 reception in that Super Bowl. Leading up to it, he was very important. And John Elway at the end of his career. So Shannon Sharpe from the tight end position was extremely important. He's number 3 on my list. And number 2, I'm going with Tony Gonzalez. Kansas City Chiefs, 1997 to 2008. Atlanta Falcons, 2009 to 2013. 6-time first-team All-Pro, 14-time Pro Bowler, 15,000 yards, Hall of Fame class, 2019. NFL 100 all-time the NFL 100 all-time team, and he was one of the first guys to start that trend, which Antonio Gates followed, of basketball players making the transition to the tight end position. He really changed that position, and his long frame, his tall, big body really made a unique matchup, made it hard for defenses to cover him. So really, I struggled with Tony Gonzalez because I felt like he could have been number 1, but given the eye test, I have to give number 1 to Rob Gronkowski. To me, he's the best tight end I've ever seen. You look at Shannon Sharpe, you look at Ozzie Newsome, you look at Tony Gonzalez, they all had about 12 yards per catch. Like we said before, Rob Gronkowski, 15 yards per catch, 79 touchdowns. He might have not had the longevity, but he played in 4 Super Bowls. He won 3 of them. And he played in 5 Super Bowls, then he won 3 of them. Because I know he lost to the Giants and lost to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, you just look at what the Patriots do with Gronk and what the Patriots do without Gronk, and he's just such a game changer. And he gets in there, he makes the tough plays. In 115 games, he has 7,861 yards. He has 79 touchdowns. It's absolutely ridiculous. NFL 100 all-time team. 4-time first-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler. To me, the best I've ever seen at the position is Rob Gronkowski. That's why he's my number one.
All right. So Ozzie Newsome, Shannon Sharp, Tony Gonzalez, and Rob Gronkowski. Soka, you're on the clock.
So before I even go, this is the back-to-back Zooms where you have chosen me last in everything. I just want to throw it out.
I saved the best for last. I saved the best for last. Listen, listen.
Hold up. Best for last.
Listen. We go back to St. Mary's. I know. Listen, Eric. I know you graduated from SJB, but he's a fellow Gale. Listen, class of 04 in the house. We are Gale, so I gotta respect the Gale in the house. All right.
Eric, I don't know what your SJB history is like, but I played against Ryan McCardle back in the day, who was recruited by Florida State.
All right. St. Mary's, Danny Green. I never played basketball, but I know he came into our home court and got smacked by my team. We won the championship in 06. All right. So I just want to say.
Listen, man, we're Tim Cluse guys. That's another conversation you want to have it. Listen, we're from the Tim Cluse era. So go ahead, Greg.
But Eric and Tom, they did a great job of mentioning stats and accolades as well as Matt. So I don't want to get into too much of that. And being that Eric kind of stole my thunder with my entire list, I'm going to shake it up a bit.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Jason Witten at number 4.
Stop the nonsense.
Oh, Lord.
Wait, say. Jason who?
Jason Witten. And
How much did Raynald pay you?
Over Shannon Sharp. Yep.
Wait. Over Shannon Sharp?
Yep.
Jason Witten?
Guys, okay. Let him finish. Let him explain. Go ahead, Greg.
Again, I want to shake things up. I don't want to have the same list as somebody else, so this is me doing that. Jason Witten has more total yardage, more touchdowns, more receptions than Shannon Sharp. And I'm a big Shake Sharp guy. I love him, but I'm picking Jason Witten right here. Then I'm going to go with Antonio Gates for all the reasons you guys mentioned. Tony Gonzalez, But I have to agree with the tank on the number 1, Rob Gronkowski. He had the most dominant prime of any NFL tight end in history.
Okay, so there you go with his list. Jason Witten, Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, and Rob Gronkowski. So let's open up the floor for discussion. Do we agree and disagree with Greg's swerve last minute?
Well, it's obvious now why Jerry Jones won't pay Dak because he's just paid Greg for that pick.
I think the commissioner came in and kind of got under Greg's skin and like, yo, you got to mention the Cowboy on this list, man. I can't live. And Jason Witten, I'm going to tell you right now, Jason Witten's not a bad pick, okay? Jason Witten is not a bad pick to be top 4 tight end, though. I think the accolades that we can get from 1 through 4 are more. Jason Witten wouldn't be up there. Okay,
he has more Pro Bowls than Shannon Sharp, and I think they're all pros are. I think Shannon Sharp has 3, he has 2, so it's debatable.
I can give you
How
that.
many Super Bowl rings does Shannon Sharp have?
But that's why I'm gonna go with TK. Super Bowl rings. Shannon Sharp has 3. All right, he came in with John Elway. He killed those last 2 for John Elway.
That's great. I'm not discrediting that whatsoever. I'm also not going to have the same 4 picks as somebody else.
I respect that.
Okay,
I'm
Matt,
sorry that I did that to
Matt, what are your thoughts? Matt, what are your thoughts on that pick, on the Witten pick?
It's terrible. And let me explain why. 1, no disrespect for Jason Witten, fantastic player. However, in my humble opinion, he's not even the best Cowboy tight end. I would pick Novacek over Jason
there it is.
Witten. That's just me. Out of production, big plays, clutch plays, Witten is a fantastic player. Novacek more clutch. And that's where the difference is. When you're talking Mount Rushmore, we have to nitpick differences. So in nitpicking, I look at, and not just my nepotism, because I am a Sharp. He's my 4th cousin. So big plays. I look at Tony Gonzalez, no big plays. Regular season, he's the Peyton Manning before Super Bowl rings. Regular season, he's amazing. Playoffs, he doesn't do anything. Shannon Sharp was a big play guy, regular season and playoffs. You talk about that Baltimore Ravens team, he only had 1 catch in that Super Bowl, but he had all the other touchdowns, most of that they needed to get to that Super Bowl.
Yes.
He has the longest play in playoff history from scrimmage, 92-yard catch in the playoffs. Shannon Sharp made big plays in Denver, in Baltimore. huge part of both offenses, especially when you talk about Trent Dilfer as the quarterback, and you had no big-time wide receivers.
I like to put
Jermaine Lewis or whatever. Like, I mean, come on. Brandon Stokely, before the Colts, nobody else was really catching the ball for them. Drove that. And Witten, I mean, he's a great pick, but he's not even the best of his franchise history.
So
Okay.
I'm going to have to disagree with the Novacek comp because Witten blows him out the water in terms of even before we get to the Super Bowls and stuff like that, just the sheer accolades alone. You know, Novacek doesn't even have 500 catches, and he doesn't even have 5,000 yards receiving. So there's that.
He doesn't. However, if you think about memories, you think about highlights as far as success, you're not seeing flashes of Jason Witten catching any balls because he didn't do it in those big moments. And you're also talking about two different eras. You got to remember some of these older cats did not play this past happy era.
But also, if we're going to do that, right, if you're going to break it, wouldn't you have to say that stuff matters if this is going to be Mount Rushmore and we're doing totality of things? Does that not matter?
It does, but that's why Novacek isn't in my Mount Rushmore. Someone like Shannon is, because Shannon got those numbers despite playing in the run-first era. Kellen Winslow dominated as a tight end despite playing in the run-first era.
Okay, Eric, did you have a point to make?
Well, going off of what Matt said, talking about the Witten in the Cowboys' history, I think Witten in Cowboys' history is a byproduct of the social media age. Okay, Novacek handled his business on the Cowboys in the 90s. Okay, yes, 500 catches, yes, 5,000 yards. He doesn't have the accolades as Jason Witten does, but look at the team around Novacek and look at the team around Witten. Okay, Witten was one of your top weapons on the Cowboys when he was on the Cowboys. Okay. Novacek was never a top weapon. So to go with Matt was saying, I think Novacek is over Witten in that argument.
So when did we determine that Gronk, that Gronk was the absolute best? Was it midway through his career with New England? Was it at the beginning? Was it when he retired and not the first time? When did we actually determine that, you know what, he's the GOAT of tight ends? TK.
I mean, just watching him just outmaneuver and just outstrength and just blow away the defenses and them not being able to come, with something for it. I mean, and you look at his comeback season, his 2014, he won Comeback Player of the Year. So he's battled injuries. He's come back. He has 297 yards receiving in the Super Bowl, most ever by a tight end, 3 touchdowns, 23 receptions. He shows up every Super Bowl and makes big plays and helps the Patriots, be that dynasty. And you look without him, I mean, yes, they still beat the Atlanta Falcons, but they were down 28-3 because Brady was trying to throw to guys like Chris Hogan and guys that aren't really as skilled. So when Gronkowski's on the field, the whole game is different. Gronkowski, like Matt said, he makes those big plays that you remember in the Super Bowl. You look at the win against the Rams, that was the Gronkowski Super Bowl. He made that big play to get them in position to score. Gronkowski always shows up. He's clutch. Him and Tom Brady are a lethal duo, and he's been doing it for so long. 2010 to 2018 to go to 4 Super Bowls and be dominant in every one you've gone to is just ridiculous.
Did he not drop that catch though against the Giants? Did he not drop the catch against the Giants?
Well, I mean, when you got Eli Manning looking at you from the sidelines, it's hard to play. That man's fierce.
All right, so now it gets interesting where we have to pick our one person. And Greg, since you called me out for picking you last, you get the first pick.
No, don't do this.
Listen. It is what it is. I'm going with the Mary's guy. You get the first pick. Who are you picking of your 4 to make the ultimate hitless list?
I think before we go, it seems like we all have Rob Gronkowski on our list. So is it consensus?
I do not.
Huh? You did?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I do have Gronk.
No, he does. I
thought you said Gonzalez. My bad.
No. So I would say I would have consensus. My overall is Rob Gronkowski.
Okay, so we're going Rob
I
Gronk.
respect it.
Okay.
If you don't have Gronk on your top 4, you're insane.
Eric?
All right. Because I know Matt doesn't have him on his list, Anthony Gonzalez has to be on the Mount Rushmore for tight ends in the NFL. Okay. Total years played, accolades, total touchdowns. He was Antonio Gates before Antonio Gates became Antonio Gates.
Okay.
Right.
TK?
All right. Well, I mean, so left on my list, I have Ozzie Newsome and Shannon Sharp. Now, I know Matt is a Shannon Sharp guy, and he's going to pick Shannon Sharp. So I could put Ozzie Newsome on here. But I'm about to contradict myself seriously. But just in all fairness, if you're putting the top, you know what? Ozzie Newsome. I'm picking Ozzie Newsome. Put him on there.
Ozzie
I was going to
Newsome.
pick Antonio Gates, but Ozzie Newsome's my guy. I'm sticking with him.
Well, you couldn't pick Gates because Gates wasn't on your list.
I know. That's why I'm not picking him.
Okay. All right. And Matt?
You could have shook the table, TK, and just put him on your list anyway.
Matt?
Is this close?
Matt, go ahead. The last pick is yours.
The last pick is mine. Well, Greg had Shannon on his list until he had to be contrary. So we all know that Shannon is truly a unanimous pick as well. So Shannon Sharp is my pick.
Okay, Shannon Sharp. Okay, so the ultimate hit list comes down to Rob Gronkowski, Tony Gonzalez, Ozzie Newsome, and Shannon Sharp. Are we satisfied with that?
Can we make a sub for Ozzie Newsome for Antonio Gates? Can we do that?
No, because it's TK's pick.
Nope.
TK would have to do it.
I'm not doing it. Ozzie Newsome. I'm sticking with Ozzie.
That's TK's pick. This is how it's played. This becomes the problem. Everyone's like, oh, we have to veto picks. No, you get one pick. That it is what it is. That's his pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with it, but there is a definite argument for Ozzie Newsome. So I'm not going to, stay against it because Ozzie he's got a shot. He's got a legitimate argument.
All right. Well, that'll do it here for the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. Please make sure you guys you vote on these picks. I think the Ozzie Newsome is going to cause some controversy, TK. So get ready. The same controversy. The same controversy it caused the commissioner 2 weeks ago with his pick. Up next after this, we have the running back position. So we're getting into the top tier positions of the NFL. So we have running back up next. Please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to the Sports Hit List by the fans for the fans. Matt, you want to throw a shout out to your podcast for the fans to check it out?
Yes, for all my Jeeks, is JEEKS, who are going to be watching this. Much love for supporting us as well as the Sports Hit List. You can listen to what we have to say with my grandson in the background here, the original Jeek, JEEK podcast. You can search for Jeek Nation on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts, and find both of our shows.
All right, Matt, we do have a Mount Rushmore Pro Wrestling edition in the works. We're just going to get through the NFL. We got to get through the MLB version. We have the NBA version. The NHL fans want a Mount Rushmore. Everyone wants a Mount Rushmore. So I'm working through all the sports here. So, but when we get to the pro wrestling, I definitely have you on my list to cover that. So don't worry, I got you.